Everyone. So now we have our next technical session with Mayank Pandey. He's the founder of Knowledge India, and today Mayank will be sharing why infrastructure as code is an essential skill for your cloud team. Over to you, Mayank.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. Uh, really delighted to be here. My name is Mayank Pandey, and we'll be talking about this topic, which is infrastructure as code. Why is it really important? Why is it essential for your cloud team? A really quick intro about me. I run a YouTube channel called Knowledge India, where I've got a lot of videos uh, on cloud, but more specifically towards AWS. If you are interested in learning that, you may visit the channel. Now, what do we love about cloud? You know, some of these things all of us know. That's why we are here, right? Uh, On-demand availability. Whenever we want, we can go ahead and spin up resources quickly. You know, we do not have to plan. We do not have to worry about the capacity planning and all of those older things, right? Speed and agility. That's why startups just love cloud, isn't it? You can go ahead and experiment with a new service really fast. You fail fast, and then you go to the next thing. You can develop new models really quickly. Easy compliance. Coming to enterprises, this can help a lot. Um, when you are developing an application which has to comply to a lot of legal standards, putting it on AWS can really help you, because AWS already has a lot of lot of certifications and compliance already in place. And when you build an application which is hosted on many of those AWS services, you already you are in a position to go ahead and leverage that automatically. You just need to worry about your application. The underlying infrastructure or the services which you are using are already in good shape, right? Ability to start small and scale easily. All of us know, if even if you are a small startup, 2 or 3 college guys coming together and starting up something new, you can actually start really small without spending a lot of money. And our friends also talked about a lot of credit facility which you can get, so I'm sure you understand that now. But the point is, you can start really small, have a control on the amount of money you are spending, and as the business grows, you can scale, and in a really easy manner. It doesn't matter in which part of the world you are located, you can actually serve customers around the world. And at the last, I've kept the most important, which is ability to automate your infrastructure. And that's what this talk is all about, right? You can actually go ahead and on AWS cloud, you can go ahead and actually automate your infrastructure. What does that mean? You can go ahead and have your infrastructure up and running, and then even delete it whenever you want without any manual intervention, right? So these are some of the important things, and I'm sure many of you realize this. Now, what is infrastructure as code? This is just a practice where you know we do all the infrastructure management via code, as as the name suggests. But what does it really mean in simple terms? The biggest change which cloud providers brought, you know was the ability to interact via APIs or via code. So in simple terms, if you think, if you want to create a server today on AWS, it is just an API call, EC2 run instances, right? If you want to stop a machine, it is EC2 stop instances, another API call, right? You want to terminate it, another API call is available. In this way, for around 150 200 services which AWS has, and it is continuously growing, you can just keep on you know looking at their APIs, and very easily you can go ahead and create anything, use it, and then delete it whenever you want. So this ability to deal with the infrastructure by calling an API call or via code gives you further ability to go ahead and manage your complete infrastructure just in the form of code in certain code files. That's what we are talking about in this particular session. Now, for somebody who's even new in this field, I would say just think it like this: when you want to create something, what you create is a resource. Examples: an EC2 instance, a load balancer, an S3 bucket, an RDS database. All of these are resources. So what you want to create, or what you create, is a resource. And while you are creating the resource, you do talk about its different features, its properties. You say that, okay, my EC2 instance should be M5 4x large. It should have a certain port, like let's say port 8080 open, and it should accept traffic from a certain IP range. Now, these are the attributes which you are telling for your resource. So the properties or attributes or the way you want your resource to be, that becomes the attribute of that. And any of you who have, if you have already created resources, you know that this is what you do when, while you are interacting or trying to create any resource on the AWS management console. All you do is with every click you are giving certain attributes. Now there you do it over a graphical user interface. If you want to do it on scale, you can actually write it in a file, in a simple text file. That's what, you know uh, that's what actually gives you the power to scale easily. And of course there are other benefits as well. So what are the benefits? The benefits are, with infrastructure as code, it is really easy to use. I also have got a demo as part of this session. I'll show you that. For somebody who is totally new, who hasn't done infrastructure as code till now, spend 2-3 days and you would be able to do it. It is that easy to learn. Actually, it is repeatable. You write a template today, you write a file today which talks about your environment, or which talks that what all resources are there in your environment, and you would be able to just create multiple resources using the same file. It's a repeatable thing. You write the template once and then you just keep creating. Version control. Now because it is written in a um, in a code file, you can implement version control, which means whenever you want, you can go back to the previous version, right? So let's say today your boss says, okay, this is how you are implementing certain EC2, and in that something is getting installed. After 1 week you have changed it. Once again your boss says, no, we need to go to the previous one. No problem. You just need to pick the code which is of the previous version. That's it, right? So version control can actually help you a lot. And if you are writing any code, please ensure that you are putting it in a repository and implementing version control. Now, what all different AWS offerings are there in this area? When you deal with different services on AWS, I'm sure you would have seen that there are different types of services. You can segregate it into infrastructure service, platform as a service, software as a service, right? All of that stuff. And as you move from infrastructure as service towards SaaS, the responsibility on customer's plate gets reduced, right? But it's not that infrastructure as service is out, right? All of us know that there are a lot of VMs running on the cloud, and still that's a major chunk. Now the point is, AWS has got different services which which can do different types of work for you. Now, first of all, if you just try to think, for any environment which you want to host, or for any workload which you want to host on cloud, first thing is you need to create resources. Those resources could be something as completely infrastructure as service like EC2, EBS volume, security groups related to that, all of that stuff. Or it could be an RDS, it could be a load balancer, it could be even, you go further and try to look at something completely managed service, like let's say Lambda or API gateway for that matter, where as a customer you do not have to manage any aspect of it, right? So whatever resources are there, whatever AWS resources are there, you need to create them first. In order to create any AWS resource, you have AWS CloudFormation. After that, if you are creating EC2 instance, then of course on the EC2 instance at the OS level, you need to do a lot of stuff. It could mean installing your necessary tool set. It could mean putting the correct antivirus, doing all the configuration management, right? Doing all of that. Anything which is one-time installation at the OS level, you need to do all of that. So for that, you would use some configuration management platform. Now, of course, you can go ahead, just use something which is platform agnostic altogether. Yes, that's possible. There are a lot of tools like Chef, Puppet, etc., which are quite famous. AWS gives you AWS OpsWorks, which can help you, help you go ahead with Chef and Puppet in a really managed way. So you can go ahead and explore OpsWorks. It can help you in the whole configuration space, configuration management space. And the third one, which we are showing here, is AWS Code Deploy. Further to that, if you have any application, a Java application, a .NET application, or Python application, you would require a mechanism so that you can you can deploy, the new code files or related libraries or whatever related to the application. You should be able to deploy. So for such thing, you can go ahead and use Code Deploy as well. So for all the different types of um, deployment or management which you want to do, AWS has got one service or the other. And the good thing is, with all of this, you can actually go ahead and script things, right? You can go ahead and script, which means you can automate. You don't need manual intervention every time. Okay, moving ahead, let's talk about CloudFormation a bit more. What is CloudFormation? CloudFormation is a framework. It's an engine which AWS gives you, and it's really simple to use. How does it help you? All you have to do is, as you can see on the left hand side, you need to write a template. We call it CloudFormation template. It's nothing but a simple JSON file. YAML is also supported if you like YAML. So all you do is you write a template. In that, you define that what all resources you want to create. Let's say you want to create EC2, Lambda, you want to create a load balancer, whatever you want to create, you put their necessary attributes in that file. If you want to parameterize something, it is also possible to parameterize. For example, you write a file which is there for an EC2 instance, but you don't want to fix that what should be the EC2 instance type. You don't want to fix that, don't fix it. Just define it as a parameter and then distribute this within your team. And every time somebody actually executes this template, it would be asked that, okay, give me the instance type. So maybe person A gives M4X large, person B gives R5 2X large, right? And accordingly, the resources get created. So the flow works like this. You have a template, you feed this template to CloudFormation engine, it executes the template, and as a result, what do you get? As a result, you get something called stack. A stack is nothing but collection of resources, right? For example, in one template file, I may go ahead and specify 5 resources or 6 resources. So that is perfectly fine. All of those come together and come up as a stack. Okay. And what is the benefit of treating this as a stack or launching it together as a stack? Think about this. You know in your organization you are working on some new idea, right? So that requires you to create a new environment every other day. You create a new environment which is quite complex, contains 8, 9, 10 different services. You go ahead and use it, and once the test is done, or in case the test failed, whatever, you want to just get rid of everything. Now, if you go ahead and deal with each and every resource individually, it is going to consume a lot of your time. You would not want to do that. So it's better that you actually launch it as a stack, and once your work is done, all you have to do is just delete the stack. All you have to do is one operation, delete the stack, and every resource which was created, every resource which was created as part of that stack, everything goes away. Slate is clean after that, right? So that's really good. We'll try to see a demo of that as I told you already. And if you have questions, feel free to note it down, put it in the comment section. I'll try to take the questions as well. Okay, so how could it help my organization, right? Trust me, infrastructure as code is useful whether you are a startup or you are an enterprise. In both the scenarios, it is really useful for you. Now, I'll try to tell you about the problem which is there in enterprises. See, it becomes very important to have a standard, right? Now, the ability to bring standards is inversely proportional to the amount of manual intervention which is there. So you need to remove the manual intervention. You need to try and do things via code so that so that manual mistakes or errors do not happen, isn't it? So in an organization, in any organization, let's say, whenever a resource gets created, there are a lot of standards around it. A simple thing could be whenever you are creating let's say an S3 bucket, it should be encrypted. A very simple thing, right? It should be encrypted. Though, see, by default, if you create an S3 bucket on AWS console, it would not be encrypted by default. No, you know, you need to go ahead and encrypt it. I mean, AWS gives you the option, but it's up to you as a customer whether you may choose to encrypt it or you may choose not to encrypt it. But if your organization says that no, it should be encrypted, right? So that is something now which you need to go ahead and do, right? Which you need to go ahead and do. And how would you do that? How would you do that? How do you ensure that any S3 bucket created in your organization never is always encrypted? You can go ahead and actually bake such standards with the help of infrastructure as code. You can write it in your CloudFormation template, and whoever uses that CloudFormation template, you're not asking the user, you're not giving an option to the user that do you want to encrypt it or you don't want to encrypt it. No, it's not like that. By default, when the bucket gets created, it is encrypted, right? So you can actually bake all such standards, whether it is related to security, performance, or anything, or related to even cost. Any standard which you want to bake in, you can bake it or you can hard code it in your CloudFormation template, right? Version control and hence ability to go back. We did discuss about this, right? Because you are writing your code and you are putting it into a repository, which is version control. Any day you wanna go back to a previous version, it is possible. So it's not like every day. Nowadays in the agile environment, what happens is you do change things at very short notice, and we also realize at times that no, this new change which we did doesn't work. So you know what? Go back to the thing which was there 5 days back. And when we want to do that, this versioning helps us a lot. So of course, if you are putting things in a repository, you are covered there. Okay. After this, the third point is very important. Most of the organizations are talking about this, enabling self-service, right? Enabling self-service. What does that mean? See, when cloud came into picture, people did talk about the ability to go ahead and create resources very quickly, right? That's what everybody says, right? You go ahead and within few seconds you can go ahead and spin up resources. Yes, that's true. There's no denying to that. You can go ahead and create resources in just 2 minutes. That's true. But can you be sure that any such resource which gets created complies to the right standards? Probably not. I mean, it totally depends on the person who is actually launching that resource. If the person is knowledgeable enough, person understands your organization standards, person knows the different controls which he or she should apply while launching the resource, then yeah, everything is good. But in case the guy doesn't know about that, then all of us have seen how people launch RDS instances in the public subnet, isn't it? We all of us know how do people go ahead and I guess we were at this level of uh, self-service part. I'll just repeat that point once again in case we missed on that. I was just saying that most of the organizations do aspire to uh, to have self-service, so that a business user or a user in a particular team who's not that who is not that IT savvy should be able to go ahead and just create the resources. But then the problem is the resources which get created, whether those resources would be complying to the organization standards or not. That becomes always a problem, right? So uh, with infrastructure as code, we can actually target such things. We can ensure that our templates take care of all such things, and then we enable self-service via that. So let us see how can we do that. Um I think this was the point which we were discussing. Can we not just allow our organization members to provision resources via AWS Management Console? I'm sure some of you would have thought about this, that anyway AWS is giving a management console. So just why not just open this to all the members who want to create different resources like EC2 load balancer or whatever. They can go ahead and create it as per their requirement. But the problem is, once again, how do you control that they are doing the right thing? They may go ahead and just launch an X series instance, which would cost you a lot of money within few hours. How do you ensure that they are following all the right security standards which your organization is asking you to do, right? All such issues come into picture. So there, thank God, we have something called AWS Service Catalog. It's a great service, and if you are not using it already, I highly recommend that you should go ahead and give it a try. So AWS Service Catalog, this is what it is. I've tried to, I thought I'll just try to put it in simple words for you here. AWS Service Catalog is nothing but a catalog where all the different offerings, you can say, or different products are published for consumption. What are these products? These products are nothing but CloudFormation templates. That's what they are. So on the left hand side, you can see we have different CloudFormation templates for different AWS resources. And as I already told you, you would while developing those templates, you would bake all the necessary standards in those templates. Then you upload those templates and publish it as a product in AWS Service Catalog, and open AWS Service Catalog as a thing or as an offering to the consumers. And as you can see on the right hand side, a consumer who is very happy and smiling now is able to go ahead and pick a product and is able to provision it. Now, when the person provisions it using Service Catalog, what happens automatically is the resources which get created, they are always aligned to your organization standards, because you are controlling the template which is written here on the left hand side. That's the important bit, right? So the last thing before we jump on to our small demo, and if time permits we can do some Q&A, is that what is the cost of using these services? CloudFormation, Service Catalog, we talk looks promising, and a lot of customers are using this. So we understand how does this help, but the point is, what's the cost of using this? The good news is there's no cost around this. You only pay for the resources you provision, right? There's no cost for using CloudFormation service or Service Catalog as such. There's no cost for that. All you have to do is, of course, you need to have people in your organization who know to actually develop or basically write CloudFormation. I'll show you in the demo that it's not very difficult work. It just requires some amount of reading. It's not very complex. It's very easy, trust me. So anybody with probably a few weeks of investment of time and effort can go ahead and get started with CloudFormation, right? So that's the good news. Now let's do one thing. I've got some demo ready here for you. I'll try to show you that, and we'll see that how can you go ahead and use the power of CloudFormation to go ahead and create a network which is which you have defined in a file, in a template. And further to that, we will also see that how can you go ahead and basically deploy all the necessary resources like a load balancer, target groups, EC2 instances, and even you can go ahead and execute something on those EC2 instances so that when they come up, they are in a particular usable state. Okay, so let us go ahead and check that. I will share other screen. Just give me a moment here. All right, guys. So I'm there in my AWS Management Console. As you can see, in a particular S3 bucket, I have got two files. One is called vpc.json, another one is alb.json. And these are the templates. I'll also show you these templates, but what I want to do is I'll just quickly go ahead. And show you the demo of executing this, and then we'll use the time in parallel to actually go ahead and look at the template as well. Okay. All right. So let's do this. So all you need to do is go to CloudFormation. All right, say create stack. That's what we were talking. And in order to create stack, you need to give a template, right? So here, you can even upload it from local, or you may go ahead and just give it from an S3 bucket. I've already uploaded it to S3. So it is here. So first what we'll do, we'll go ahead and execute this one. So all you need to do is you need to pick up the URL for this file. and give it in the CloudFormation service, right? So let's just try to take this and we'll go here, put it here, say next. It analyzes your template. If there is any issue, you have not written something correctly in that, you'll get an error at this level itself. Now you need to give it a name. I'm gonna call it my VPC stack. So let's just finish this thing off. There are a lot of options which you can give here. We do not have that much time to cover all of that here, but if you're interested, there's a video which you can go ahead and watch on my channel. But what we're doing here is that with this template, we are going ahead and creating a network in our account. So which means a VPC with the required subnets, internet gateway, route table, NAT gateway, all of that stuff, public private subnets, all of that we are creating. So we press on create stack and we wait for a few minutes. You can see here that, just give me a moment. Yeah, so you can see here that if you refresh this thing, you'll be able to see the resources. Click on resources and you'll be able to see that what all resources are getting created. So a VPC is getting created, a public IP for NAT, an internet gateway, and more things, right? So it is all getting created. You can refresh and you can keep seeing the progress here. What we could also do is just go to this template so that we can look at the template. The font is really small, so let's do something. All right, let's see here. So you can see that there is a resources section. In the resources section, we are creating a VPC. After that, we are creating subnets. This is a public subnet. After that, we are creating another public subnet following the principles of high availability, right? So because everything fails all the time. So remember that you always span across two ACs, okay? So we have got two public subnets. As you can see, whatever are the properties of those two public subnets, we have given it. For example, the first one is in US East 1A, second one is in US East 1B, all such things. If you want, we are also giving some tags, etc., to the public subnet. Then we are creating an internet gateway. See, whatever you see here in the type, that is the resource type. You see, this is the name of the variable or name of the resource, logical name of the resource, you can say. So in this way, all these things get created, and after that, few things will come out as output. I hope all of this is done now. Let's go and check the status. So go to resources. Many of these things are created, but the creation is still in progress. Why? Because NAT gateway is taking time. All of you know this thing, right? NAT gateway generally takes some amount of time. So that's why the delay here. As soon as that is ready, our stack would be in shapes. Let's do one thing. Let's go to VPC dashboard, refresh this, and we should see this VPC. This is the VPC which got created now, and this will have 4 subnets. So if we go to subnets, and we can just probably go and filter, let me just filter with the name demo. So we should see 4 subnets, 2 public and 2 private, and as you can see, one IP address is consumed here. Do you know what's the reason? NAT gateway has taken that. And if we go to NAT gateway, you should see NAT gateway as well. You see, this is available. Good. So all of this is fine. Let's refresh. Okay, this is done. Is something else pending here? Probably no. Okay, routes are getting created. So we just need to give a couple of more seconds here probably, and it should all be done. So with this, our VPC is all in shape. It has got internet gateway, it has got NAT gateway, so everything is there good. Next, what we're going to do is we will run our next template. And in that template, what happens? We create a load balancer. We create 2 EC2 instances. We install PHP on that. We install web server on that. We put some dummy code on it, right? And that load balancer and EC2 instance, both of those resources, they get created in this VPC, which we have just now created in front of you. So that's how we are going to do, right? I've broken it in 2 different templates just to keep it easy to understand, just digestible chunks. All right, so let's do that. And I hope you are able to see the time. It happens quite fast. Of course, when you're developing the template, it would require some time. But once you have developed it, using it is really easy. And it really adds to your speed and agility. All right, so this is done. Let's do next one, create stack. We need to pick the other one. So we go here and we'll just go to the other file, other JSON file, which is this one. And we'll pick its URL and put it there. All right, so let's do this. Next. Now I need to give it some name. So I'm just gonna call it app01 stack. And you can see here that it is asking me to actually choose certain parameters. This is what I was talking to you earlier. You don't need to hard code, or you don't need to give all the values in your template itself. You can parameterize things. So here it is asking me that, okay, this template is gonna launch ALB and EC2 instances, but in which VPC should it launch? So it allows me to select that. So if I click here, I would be able to see all the VPCs which are there in my account. That's the good thing. So what we'll do is, the one which we created is VPC my demo. So I'll select that. Then I need to select the two public subnets. Why? Because in the public subnets, I'll have my load balancer. So let me choose the public ones. This is the public one, and this is the other public one, right? Then I need to choose the private ones, because in the private ones, I'll have my EC2 instances, or basically my web server. So I'll select that, say next, and then just go ahead and say next, and create stack. With this, now we'll see within a couple of minutes, probably 2-3 minutes, we should have our complete stack deployed, and it would take care of everything. So while that happens, let me quickly show you the template here. So in this template, you can see here are the parameters. These are the parameters which we just saw. VPC public, both public subnets, and then both the private ones. So those are the parameters which were asked from the user. After that, we are creating a security group for ALB. We are creating security group for the web server. Then we are creating actual EC2 instance. And in the EC2 instance, you can see that we are installing, we are actually installing certain packages, like let's say HTTPD, PHP, etc. And then we are writing some code. This code would come up in this location in var www.htmlindex.php. So we should be able to see this thing. So the machines which are getting created on those machines, some code is also getting executed at the OS level. In this case, we are installing the web server. You may choose to install some agent or whatever you want, right? So that's what it is. And of course, these two EC2 instances become part of a target group, and that target group is associated with the load balancer. So that's what it is. Let's go and look at the status here. Looks like things are going well. So let's see. Load balancer is getting created. EC2 instances are all in shape. Great. Target group created. Security group created. So the last thing is load balancer. Once this is done, we should be able to browse our website. All of this done in less than 5 minutes or so, 5-6 minutes. So that's the overall power of CloudFormation. We will wrap up the session. I'll just show you this thing as it gets created. And for that, what I'll do is I'll just quickly go to EC2 so that I can go to the load balancer. If you have any questions, or if you want to reach out to me, my channel is KnowledgeIndia. You can easily search it. So in the EC2, if you go to load balancers, you should be able to see the load balancer which is getting created here. Just give it a moment. Here it is. One sec. Sorry. All right. So this is also done. I think it is complete. Yes. So our stack is created. Let's just go to the load balancer. Why is it not getting loaded here? While it comes up, You can also go to this output section, and you can see in the output section, I have actually given the DNS. So we just go and open that, and it should actually open up the web page. You can see this is just a sample page which we actually wrote on the EC2 instance, and even the instance ID is showing up here. If you refresh this page a couple of times, you will see that this particular thing will change. So basically, the traffic is being served from both the instances, right? So that's what it is, guys. Somehow the load balancer page is not loading, so that's okay. I think we will wrap up there. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to write. That was me. Thank you. All right, there is a question which says, please tell us some disadvantages of cloud computing. Well, I don't think there are any disadvantages of cloud computing, but yes, it does require a bit of learning curve. You know, other than that, I don't see any disadvantage of cloud computing. Yes, there can be issues if a company moves to cloud without proper learning, then there can be a problem because people do a lot of mistakes in that case. So I think that's one thing which we should really take care of. Otherwise, I do not see any disadvantage of cloud computing. Is self-service as like we can customize as our company required? Yes, that is correct. So whatever I was showing here in my slide, actually, let me just go there very quickly without taking a lot of time. So if you just look at this particular slide, on the left hand side, all these templates, these are something which your team would actually go ahead and develop, right? And would be able to publish it in via service catalog. So you have complete control of whatever is being written here. And hence, the resources which you want to allow, the standards which you want to enforce, only those things will go out. So it would not happen that somebody just goes to your AWS account and creates a particular resource which you do not use in your company at all, and you are unnecessarily paying money for it. That won't happen. If your organization uses 10, 15 resources, you write templates for that, bake the standards, and publish only those 10 or 15 resources in the service catalog. I hope that helps, and I'll be happy to connect with you. My credentials and the way to connect is given below. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining, Mayank. It was really a wonderful technical session, and I'm sure we got to learn a lot. You can always ask any question, Mayank specifically, through his credential. Please feel free to visit his YouTube channel, and happy learning. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mayank, once again for joining AWS Community Day Bangladesh.
Thank you.